G'day folks, and welcome back to the southwest. It's New Year's Eve weekend, so end of 2021, start of 2022. It's just myself and the dogs down here this weekend. Weather's looking pretty good, about 30 odd degrees most days. I'm going to split this episode into two parts. Main reason is I'm down here for 4 days, so I've got quite a few things that I want to do. So the first part, I'm going to be milling some logs into slabs, making up 6x2s and 4x2 boards for use in construction of an outhouse or a bush toilet, or a dunny as we call them over here sometimes. So that'll be the first part. The second part is I'm building a makeshift bar out of the offcuts from the former exercise, and I've got a few other little bits and pieces, a few other jobs to do as well. So this first part of this episode is milling up some logs. So this is the swag where we spend the night. So pretty simple setup, one swag. It's pretty cozy in there. This dog Millie, she's quite happy to go down the end. She just sits down the foot end. This dog here, Kira, she's still a bit of a pup, and she likes to snooze right up next to me and get her head right in close to mine. Okay, so it's New Year's Eve. It's 20 to 9, and it's bedtime. We got Kira there, and down the bottom there is Millie. Hey Millie, there she is. So it's pretty cozy in here. So Happy New Year everyone. Still a few hours away, but
morning everyone.
So this is called an Alaskan chainsaw mill. The idea is that you attach this frame to your chainsaw, it clamps on to the bar there and there, still allowing the chain to move, obviously. You can adjust the thickness of the cut of the slab. So the idea is that you can mill timber into slabs. You can adjust the thickness of the cut by undoing these bolts here and raising this up or down. The very first cut you do, you might have seen before, you need to use these rails which you set on top of the log, and you can adjust the heights to make sure it's nice and straight and level, and hammer these spikes in, and that holds it to the log. I'm still not completely sold on this rail setup. It takes quite a while to set it up, although to be fair, part of that's just putting it together. I'll probably just leave it together now. But yeah, it's a bit fiddly. These adjustment bolts takes a while to get all them nice and level and so forth. I've seen some other systems on YouTube which look a little bit more efficient, but it works. The slabs I got are pretty accurate, so they're nice and level, nice and flat. It's pretty hard work because you're cutting along the grain, obviously, so chainsaws like to cut across the grain. They don't like cutting with it, so it's pretty hard work, probably taking about 5 minutes for each cut, and you've got to sort of muscle it along a little bit as well. So I'm using pine, so you can see behind me, those are the remains of those 3 trees that I cut down before Christmas. The main trunks I kept, so there's half a dozen of those. So I'm cutting these into 50mm thick slabs, and I'll trim them along the edges in a little bit to get them 150mm or 6 inches wide, so they'll be 6x2s or 150x50s. I mentioned in a previous video I'll use these. I've got to build an outhouse, and it's going to be a temporary structure. It'll probably only be there for a year or 2 max, so I'll probably use this pine for. I won't put the pine in the ground or anything touching the ground. I'll use it higher up where the termites are less likely to get it. They'll still get it eventually. It'll still rot eventually. It won't last anywhere near as long as the native hardwoods. But I've got it here. I've got the wood. It's there, so I might as well use it. The alternative is to use it for firewood, which it might get used for one day anyway. So I'll use this while I can. The other benefit is it's easier to cut the pine than it is the hardwood, obviously. It's a lot softer. So I'll carry on with these. Pretty hard work, and the other thing is you've got to sharpen your chain pretty regularly, because I've managed to do those 3 cuts just with the chain being sharpened before. I might be able to trim the edges of these, and then I'll probably have to sharpen this chain again before I move on to the next log. So it's kind of slow going, but yeah, it's effective. Creates a lot of sawdust, and obviously every time you cut, you're losing, a fair bit of wood to sawdust. The alternative is to buy a full-on bandsaw mill, but if you there's advantages to that. That makes a nice thin cut, but it's not portable. You can take this out into the bush anywhere. If you cut a big tree down, you can cut it into manageable sizes and carry those back. You can't do that obviously with a fixed installation that a bandsaw mill is. So yeah, and this is cheap as well. So I think it was less than $200 for everything basically, except the chainsaw, of course. So Alaskan chainsaw mill. This one came not from Alaska, came from Ballarat, I think, in Victoria. So it's pretty cold in Ballarat. So some similarities, I suppose. No bears though. Good enough for a dunny.